Foul is Fair, Chapter 6, Family Stuff. Kasha tailed their next bus to Fremont closely, then rejoined them as they passed various photography galleries, rows of new condos, and what they were assured was a very nice vegan and gluten-free bakery. Kasha showed them her apartment, which consisted of the second floor of a house that looked like it had been built in the 1920s. Nice flag, Lonnie said, looking at the rainbow flag hanging from Kasha's balcony. Thanks. Fits in nice in this neighborhood. And of course, I am pansexual. Megan had heard that word. Right. Attraction that doesn't specify any physical sex or gender identity, right? Yeah. Besides, pan is really hot. Megan blinked. Okay. Kasha just smiled and let them into her place, took a letter opener out of her coat and set it on the front table. Why the busker carried around a letter opener was added to an incredibly long list of unanswered questions. Megan wasn't sure she'd ever have time for all of them. Is that Richard, Dad? Megan asked, eyes immediately drawn to the chaotic painting in Kasha's living room. Just a print, obviously, but yeah, Kasha confirmed. Crazy Jane, I love it. Love the Yeats poems it helped inspire, too. Fair and foul are near of kin, and fair needs foul, I cried. Good stuff. I've seen some of Dad's work with the fairies. Did he paint this in the asylum, too? Yep, most his best work there. Megan frowned. Are you going to tell me that he wasn't really crazy? That he met actual fairies? Oh, he was definitely really crazy. Severe paranoid schizophrenia, horrific violent delusions. Kasha smiled, a little disturbing considering the subject. That absolutely does not mean he ever met any real fairies. The taller woman sprawled on her couch. The kittens, Jude and Maxwell, bounded across the floor before climbing up onto the couch with their owner. So you're Megan O'Reilly. Yeah, how much do you know about me? You as the Menahune's BFF, or you as Riocard's daughter with the front woman of Late to the Party? Well, that opened up a whole new game of questions. Megan knew her parents had been in a band when she was born, much as her mom didn't like to talk about parts of her life she'd grown out of. But Megan had always assumed Rick was short for Richard. Still, there was an even more urgent issue. Minnie what? She looked at Lonnie. Menahune, and only half. I'm human on my mom's side. Human on your... Megan frowned. Lanny, I've met your dad. He's a person. A person? Yeah. Lonnie said. That's a reasonable label. Not human, and you've never seen Dad at dusk, and definitely never at dawn. Upon reflection, Megan hadn't. Lonnie's dad was away for work a lot, though, so it never seemed weird to not see him in the evening much. While she was reflecting, she repeated the word, Menahune. Megan remembered where she had heard the term before. Wait, the Hawaiian lawn gnome people? Like your mom's old figurine thing on top of the fridge? Your dad's not... Well, if pressed, she had to admit the figurine looked a bit like him. And it was a little harder to call this entire conversation insane considering her conversation the night before. But he works for the Corps of Engineers, she protested lamely. Did I ever say which Corps of Engineers? No, Megan said slowly, reproachfully. You didn't. Megan, I wanted to tell you. I always wanted to tell you. But there are restrictions. Megan could hear the capitalization in Lonnie's voice. She'd heard it before from the Cajales about cultural stuff, like really strong, sorta religious principles against overfishing. It only helped a little. Okay, so why are you telling me now? Why get disabled butterfly people with service crows to say we need to talk about what you couldn't say during 50 sleepovers? When did it stop being restricted? Last week, Lonnie answered, when I found out you're only human on your mom's side, too. Megan paused for some time. Okay, before I can either laugh or scream about that, I'm going to need a sandwich and some Band-Aids. Despite being the technical hostess, Kasha remained sprawled out on her couch with a pair of kittens climbing on her. The satirist gestured towards the kitchen. Feel free. I got it, Lonnie replied, heading for the apartment's small kitchen at the invitation, peeking out to continue the conversation while she prepared food for herself and Megan. So, Kasha said suddenly, what do you play? What? Megan was getting whiplash again. A hand went to her hat. Just a fan. Don't play sports. Not sports. Music. What instrument? Your mother's bass work was incendiary. My girl, Kasha gestured toward a picture of herself with an arm around a dreadlocked woman holding a violin bow. Still plays those albums. So what about you? Oh, keyboards, like a little. Music class was always fun. I have perfect pitch. Ms. Dahl says, well, yeah, Kasha said, shrugging. And Megan wondered if the perfect pitch was somehow related to not being human. The satirist continued, but seriously, just keyboards? A little? She sighed, then muttered, Rick, you and your attachment issues have a lot to answer for. Megan wasn't sure she was ready to ask after that yet. So what's a red cap? Very violent and silly, Lonnie replied from the other side of the kitchen counter. What? Disorderly fairies. There's these 2 courts for the Irish and British types, and anyone associated with them, Seelie and Unseelie. We're Seelie, my family. Well, we're affiliated with the Seelie court because of the Menehune-Brownie Strategic Alliance of 1801. Obviously. And what do Irish and British fairies have to do with Seattle? You think colonization is just a human thing? For one thing, there's dandelions. But best not to get us off track. Yeah, that used to be my job, said Megan. Lonnie smiled. Yeah, anyway, it's all very complicated, but a lot of connections lead a lot of different places, and a lot of various folk end up where they want to end up. But some things are always going to be Irish, Kasha said, because Riacard has a type. So you knew my dad, Megan asked her. Sure, still see him twice a year, except when I don't feel like going. And you're saying he's a fairy? Not like Aisling, Lonnie said hurriedly. Kasha laughed. Oh no, not like Aisling. He's one of the She, Lanny continued, the highest order of the Irish and British fairies. He's one of the top among even the She, really. Sometimes he goes by the Unseelie King. Wait, what? My dad is Unseelie? Like the red cap? Does he... Kasha stepped in. No, trust me. He didn't send that guy. Just because they're both Unseelie doesn't make them allies. Really, that last thing about keeping your friends close and so on can kind of apply. Now some of us, Megan interjected, Kasha assured. I fell in with Rick's folk a long time ago. Came along his first road trip to America. Not that this continent had much in the way of roads at the time. My folk ain't always so big on letting me play reindeer games anymore. But I like the local Unseelie, messed up as some of them are. And I like Seattle. Well, yeah, Megan said. Seattle's great. Attracts all kinds of people.